is most important nutrient. It required for most of the body function in our body. Its minimum quantity is required in the body for normal function. It's 50 microgram, and we can check it by thyroxine level or triiodothyronine. T3, T4 and TSH by live diagnosis we can test that what amount of iodine is present in our body, and it is very important for normal growth and development. It is found that almost 23% of pregnant women suffering from iodine deficiency and 73. But nowadays this prevalence is going to increase because of most of the time fertilizer use during the farming, and various other causes are also there. That adequate amount of water is not there, that water quality is deteriorate, and food quality is also deteriorate. Insufficient intake of food and water is also and areas in which it is endemic, that is also responsible. So the prevalence is going to increase day by day. And during pregnancy time it is very important to test the T3, T4, TSH level. If iodine deficiency is there during pregnancy, that means that pregnancy is not normal. It can cause abortions, threaten abortions, or intrauterine growth retardation, sometimes death also. So it is very important that we have to check T3, T4, TSH level during pregnancy, since first trimester to last trimester, and after delivery also during lactating period. So now we will discuss why it is a problem in world, and after that India also. Goiter has iodine deficiency disorder is named as a goiter, and it has a major problem in developing country, and mostly in developing country and some part of developed countries. It continues a serious health problem in India and neighboring countries like Bangladesh, Bhutan, Myanmar, Indonesia, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Thailand also. In Southeast Asia, there were else in the world also it is a major health problem, and more people are affected and level of severity is higher in the various part of the country. So it's a major health problem in developing countries and as well as developed countries also. This is the geographic map in which you can see that this is the very much prevalent in Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Thailand, as well as in India. And in India currently not less than 170 million people are estimated to be affected in the country because of iodine deficiency disorder. And in Himalayan region, mostly in the Himalayan belt, 120 million people are suffering from endemic goiter. In the district like Gonda of UP, known as a highly endemic, where prevalence is 15%, in which neonatal hypothyroidism is major, and it is very very severe problem, that in neonate also hypothyroidism is problem in the endemic areas. So they have to take action against it, and so that's why iodine deficiency disorder and program related to that is launched. Himalayan goiter belt is in India, that goiter or cretinism, goiter in adult and cretinism in the babies are because of iodine deficiency disorder. It is iodine deficiency disorder, and it significantly extend in Himalayan region belt. We have biggest goiter belt, that is from Kashmir to Naga Hills in east and extend about 2,400 kilometers. That belt is so huge, that's why our prevalence is goes to increase because of this belt. The other states that affect because of iodine deficiency disorder like Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, UP, Bihar, West Bengal, and Sikkim. Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Mizoram, Meghalaya, Tripura, and Manipur are also. That northeast region and Himalayan belt are cause of iodine deficiency disorder. So we have to take care for that. And as we can see that all these are the regions are affected by that. We already named that. Like Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Mizoram, Meghalaya, Tripura, and Manipur. As we can see in this area, mostly prevalent because of iodine deficiency disorder. This is the Himalayan belt. That water coming from the Himalaya region that is not having that much iodine as it is required in the water for normal growth and development, for normal functioning of the body. That iodine is required, it is not present in that water. That's why this belt is mostly prevalent for the iodine deficiency disorder. This is also we already discussed that iodine, it's a micronutrient. As we already discussed, macronutrient and micronutrient. It comes under micronutrient. It's required in very less quantity, but it's required. It's not like that it will function normally. It is required 50 milligram in a body, as we discussed. It is in the form of T4 and T3. It is like hormone T4 and T3. It is required for normal growth and development. Daily requirement of iodine is 150 microgram per day. And if we are taking balanced diet and taking adequate amount of water, it automatically fulfill the daily needs of the iodine. Now, what are the sources for iodine? It mostly present in seafood, cod liver oil, milk, and meat. Like various vegetables and cereals also contain iodine, that is 90%, and drinking water is also contain iodine. So all these are the sources for iodine. We are taking that in a normal diet, then it automatically fulfill our requirement of iodine on the daily basis. But if we are taking goitrogens like cyanoglycosides, thiocyanate like cabbage or cauliflower kind of thing in more amount, then it interfere in production and absorption and utilization also. So it hampers the iodine absorption and utilization in the body. So it called as goitrogen. Then it leads, it causes the goiter if we are taking this goitrogen in a high amount. So we have to prevent this goitrogens and take more and more seafood, cod liver oil, milk, meat, and cereals and vegetables, and drink lots of water. If deficiency of iodine deficiency is there, then it can cause goiter also. There are grading for goiter. Both we are found in grade 1 or grade 2, because it is a silent disease. Patient never bother I have goiter or what. But when it comes in severe form, when body hampers, the functioning of body is not proper, then patient come in the OPD with the grade 3 form. It causes hypothyroidism, subnormal intelligence, there is irritability, that memory loss, short-term memory loss, long-term memory loss, or patient is not able to retain what he has done. That all form of it called as subnormal intelligence that occur because of iodine deficiency. Delayed motor milestone, if it is deficient in children, then it causes the delayed motor milestone. And it is not present, it is inadequate intake of iodine during pregnancy can cause mental deficiency also, that neurons and axon formation in the fetus that can also hamper because of iodine deficiency. In children, hearing and speech defect can also occur. Then squint can occur in children's. Nystagmus, plasticity of the skin, neuromuscular weakness, endemic cretinism, intrauterine death can occur. That all list cause because of deficiency of iodine in the food or in the body. So it can easily prevent by taking adequate amount of iodine on the daily basis. So because of all this problem, this is the national issue and we are taking action against it. So micronutrient deficiency in uh, cretinism and various deficiency form what amount of iodine present, what less amount of iodine present in a body, that we will discuss that in cretinism less than 20 microgram iodine is present, or in goiter it is 20 to 50. In marginal or in first grade or second grade of goiter it is 50 to 100, and in normal patient it is like 100 to 300 microgram is present in the body. And if person is normal or normal, then about 300 microgram iodine is present in the body. So to daily functioning of body, 300 microgram 100 to 300 microgram is required, and for storage more than 300 microgram is required, iodine in our body. If iodine deficiency is present during the pregnancy, then it mostly hamper the gestational growth during the 14 to 18 weeks, because in 14 to 18 weeks neurons and basal ganglia are formed in the cortex, and in 10 to 18 weeks cochlea is going to form. So if iodine deficiency is there, this brain development, basal ganglion development, cerebral cortex development, or cochlear development that hamper. And this is in early second trimester also thyroid start to secreting thyroxine. In first trimester baby has to depend on the mother's thyroxine level. In second trimester baby can start their own thyroxine production. That also after 14 weeks or 14 to 18 weeks iodine deficiency is there, then all these major things going to hamper that mental development also, and cochlear development also. So hearing defect or mental defects can occur during the infancy period if iodine deficiency is there. In emergency of new goiter, that endemic areas that irritant pain, it is mostly because that deficiency is mostly because of excessive use of fertilizer, pesticides, food additives, or goitrogen. If excessive fertilizer, synthetic fertilizer we are using during farm in the farm, or pesticides we are using in the farm, it automatically deteriorate the level of micronutrient in the soil and in the food products or in the grain. So we have to minimum use of all this product we have to do in regular basis, so that optimum level of iodine should be present in the soil or in the farm, that we have to take care. This picture we can see that goiter is there, and that female is having goiter. This mostly grade 2 and marginally grade 3 type of goiter. This is the child having iodine deficiency, and this is the whole family. As we can see, the all things are present there. Obviously malnutrition is also there, skin plasticity, their irritability, and look is also like that. So it is also a picture of iodine deficiency disorder. The requirement of iodine is 150 microgram on daily basis. We discuss that, and it can we can balance it by taking proper diet and water also. And how we will assess epidemiologically iodine deficiency? There are several methods to assess iodine deficiency in community level also, or in personal level also. In personal level, We can detect iodine deficiency by urinary iodine excretion and measurement of T3, T4 and TSH level in the blood. And in the community level, we can detect iodine deficiency by prevalence of goiter and prevalence of cretinism in the babies. Prevalence we already discussed. What is mean by prevalence? Prevalence is number of cases, old and new cases present in a certain geographic area in certain period. So all number of cases are present in a certain geographic area, old and new cases, that is called as prevalence. So on the community basis, we can detect is by prevalence method for goiter and cretinism. Uh, Prevalence of neonatal hypothyroidism is most sensitive indicator for environmental iodine deficiency. If newborn baby is having hypothyroidism, it is the most sensitive indicator for iodine deficiency disorder. So if we want to go on the basis of sensitivity test, we have to test all the neonate. We will take cord blood to test iodine deficiency is present or not. We will take after delivery whatever cord blood is there, we will send it for the testing. If T3, T4, TSH level is very low, in that specifically TSH level is very low, then it is called as hypothyroidism in the baby. So it is most sensitive indicator. How we can control the goiter? There are several methods. Essential component for the National Goiter Program includes several methods, that is iodized salt, iodine monitoring, manpower training, mass communication and hazards of iodinization. So we will discuss this one by one. We will first see iodized salt. The iodization of salt is now the most widely used prophylactic public health measure against endemic goiter, that we are taking, almost everyone is taking iodized salt. The Prevention of Food Adulteration Act, it comes that iodine level in the salt should be 30 ppm at the production point. Means minimum 30 ppm of iodine should be present during the packing of salt, and after that iodine packet they will store, they will transport. During that period there is deterioration of iodine is occur, and at consumer level it should be 15 ppm. If when they pack iodine in salt, the fortified iodine in the salt, the amount is 30 ppm should be there, and at consumer level it should be 15%, minimum 15% should be there. If it is less than 15%, then it is not a proper iodized salt. Under the National Iodine Deficiency Disorder Control Activities, the Government of India proposed to the complete replacement of common salt with the iodized salt in a phase-wise manner. Now it's cover all the areas of the India, so everywhere. And recently, the National Institute of Nutrition at the Hyderabad comes out of new product that common salt fortification. Means salt we can fortify with iron also and iodine also, because iron is also anemia is also, we already discussed, is very prevalent disease, and iodine deficiency disorder is also a very prevalent disease. So we can fortify iron also and iodine also in a salt, because salt we are taking in daily routine. Everyone is taking salt in their food, so they have selected salt as a food for fortification. Then we can use iodized oil, but it is not suitable for all the person. In that injection we give iodized oil injection, we will give to intramuscularly. That NIN Hyderabad has now successfully developed the process and produced the iodized oil in but it is not that much effective. 1 ml will give protection for 4 years, but this is a very this is not a cheap method. This is costly method as compared to iodization of fortification of salt. So it is less used. It is most expensive. Advantage in place where salt is not feasible. Iodization of salt is not feasible, and there is shortage of salt supply, but it is not possible in India. So salt fortification is the best method in India. Iodized oil is also we can take orally. That sodium iodide tablet is technically simpler than injection method. Means injecting somewhere, also sometimes from pus also. So it is sodium tablet and sodium iodide tablet also. So limited research has found that these procedures are effective against goiter, but most costly than intramuscular injection. Now injection are costly method, but than the injections, but it is more suitable method. If we advise patient to take tablet, it is more feasible than injection. Then we can do monitoring also, in that iodine excretion determinant on routine surveillance or survey. We can take samples from the community and test it for routine monitoring process. In that iodine excretion we can determine, or determination of iodine in water, soil, food as a part of epidemiological study, that also we can do. And quality control of iodine in the salt, that we can do on the surveillance basis or monitoring basis. And neonatal hypothyroidism is a sensitive pointer to environmental iodine deficiency, and thus we can effectively indicate it is an effective indicator for monitoring the program. So neonatal hypothyroidism we can do surveillance for iodine excretion. Quality control also we can do for iodine monitoring. Then we can go for manpower training. More and more person we can train to detect goiter, and we can give education or awareness campaign in the public to control the or spread the awareness of goiter or cretinism or iodine deficiency disorder, to reduce the prevalence. Now hazards of iodinization, it can it's a two-way procedure. If we are taking in a less amount, it cause deficiency disorder. If we are taking in more amount, iodine can cause thyrotoxicity also. So Hashimoto disease, thyrotoxicity, lymphocytic thyroiditis, more than 10% is there. Then only that iodide salt we can use. Or if prevalence is below 10%, then WHO, World Health Organization, is not recommending that fortification of salt with the iodine. That's all about iodine deficiency disorder. Now we will go to protein energy malnutrition. The definition of protein energy malnutrition is it's not pathological state resulting from relative or absolute deficiency or excess of one or more essential nutrient, which include undernutrition, overnutrition, imbalance, or special or any special component deficiency also. So malnutrition is not about less intake, it can cause because of over intake also. That obesity is one type of malnutrition. So this is the definition for malnutrition. The causes of malnutrition in under 5 children is mostly ARI, acute respiratory tract infection, causes of death among under 5
The
children.
person you are
And
speaking with has put your call on
there are so
hold.
many
Please
causes.
stay
It's
on the
not like
line.
malnutrition is one of the
आप
cause,
जिस
but
व्यक्ति से
50%
बात
death
कर
can
रहे
occur
हैं
because of
उसने आपकी
malnutrition,
कॉल को
and other
होल्ड
causes
पर
are
रखा है।
diarrhea,
कृपया लाइन
malaria,
पर बने
ARI,
रहें।
and
The
perinatal
person
death
you are
also.
speaking with
And
has
sometimes
put your call on hold.
measles or other
Please stay on
infection
the
is
line.
also there, or HIV
आप
AIDS
जिस
also there.
व्यक्ति से
But
बात
major
कर रहे
cause
हैं
is
उसने आपकी
malnutrition.
कॉल है। कृपया लाइन पर बने
This is a
रहें। The
vicious
person
cycle.
you
We
are
will discuss it in more depth in further slides. That inadequate intake of food cause infection, and infection deteriorate the health status. Then again, it leads to inadequate intake of food, and it will goes on. Then because of this, malnutrition happens. In more depth, it is inadequate dietary intake, growth, immunity lower, muscular damage. It increase the incidence of other diseases, incidence and duration and severity of other diseases. And because of all these diseases, again there is appetite loss, nutrient loss, malabsorption, and altered metabolism in the body. It leads to inadequate dietary intake. Again, this is the vicious cycle goes on because of that malnutrition happen. This is the same thing.
अरे कल रात को पता है मेरे को टमाटर चाहिए था
The
मैं सोच
factors
रही थी आपके
responsible
सोच
for
रही थी
malnutrition are poor environmental condition, large family
अभी
size,
तो
poor
है कि
mental
नहीं
health,
सब कुछ
failure of lactation, premature termination of breast feeding or breast milk, and low socioeconomic
घर में
status.
है
All
क्या
these are the
घर में
factors for the
सब्जी बनाना
malnutrition. Then other factors are there is a cultural
नहीं
practice,
वैसे भैया आएंगे
taboos, other supplements are there, dilution of other supplements also there. Discarding cooking water from the cereals, delayed supplement or weaning practice, or poor mother or family members' health and educational status and nutritional status. That is all also leading to malnutrition in a baby. Nutritional status of women of childbearing is very important. If she is suffering from any deficiency, it automatically goes to nutrition decrease amount of nutritional status, and low amount of nutritional status can happen during the pregnancy of the woman. It automatically affects lactating nutritional status of lactating women. And when that female is not having good physical status, nutritional status, then automatically it hampers to the neonate infant's nutritional status. And if that infant is girl child, automatically the food provide to that girl, it's less amount of food as compared to boys, and again there is malnutrition in that woman. So this is also one cycle we can see in the India. So there is malnutrition is more common in the women.
रिटर्न पे लगा दिया होना नहीं है पैसा वापस करें हमको मिलना चाहिए
This is the growth chart that we can see. This is the normal curve. In that we can plot weight of the baby, and how much weight should be ideal weight of baby during the age period. So this is the easiest method to detect malnutrition is present in babies or not. In WHO chart, 50 percentile or upper is a upper reference curve, and third percentile is lower reference curve. So in between that both curve, normal limit is there. Baby should lie in that normal limit. That direction of growth curve should be in the forward direction and upward forward direction. If it goes below or lower down that curve, then it is also one of the indicator for the malnutrition. And most common factor for this lower down the curve is fever, diarrhea, measles, weaning practice, and feeding practice. So the direction of curve is very important. It should be forward and upward. Now we will see some pictures of malnutrition, marasmic and kwashiorkor baby. In marasmic children, it is a as we can see, there is thinning and wasting of muscles and complete loss of subcutaneous fat loss in this child. This is marasmic Kwashiorkor baby, in which we can see moon face. There is pot belly is also there, but edema is also present in the babies. Pale skin, hair loss is also there. So we can easily identify Kwashiorkor baby and marasmic baby, the two forms of protein energy malnutrition. This is also a picture of Kwashiorkor, in which still peeling is there, dehydration, loss of edema. This is a more severe form of protein energy malnutrition. This is the biochemical indicator in marasmic and Kwashiorkor baby. Serum albumin should be normal or decrease in marasmic baby, or it is low in Kwashiorkor.
40 घंटे में वो पिकअप
And
कर लेंगे
plasma
हमारा
level
लैपटॉप
amino
और
acid
फिर
ratio
उसके
is
बाद
normal in marasmic baby, and it is elevated in Kwashiorkor baby. This one. Shortness or stunting is we can take it as a percentage of height per age. If it is more than 90%, it is normal, and less than 80%, it is severe shortness or stunting or chronic condition for the growth retardation. Then we can prevent it by simple measures like giving good nutrition, safe water supply, environmental sanitation, and good health facilities to mother and child, and provision of other government facilities to the mother. In that we can do health promotion, better NCPNC services, breastfeeding practice, provision of low-cost weaning practices, promotion of feeding practices. In health promotion also, diet also we can give personal hygiene, nutritional education, family and birth spacing, and family environmental and socioeconomic status upgrading also in health promotion we can give. There are so many methods for specific protein energy malnutrition prevention, like health promotion, specific protection, early diagnosis and treatment malnutrition. All these are the factors to come down the malnutrition in the babies. So there are 5 objectives for malnutrition: that care in illness, preventive care, growth monitoring, family planning, and health education. In care illness, that care and treatment of sick children, effective training to nurse and child health services should give. In early diagnosis and treatment of mental, physical and other abnormalities, and proper management of the severity of malnutrition. In preventive care, immunization, surveillance like PM, anemia, rickets and blindness should be there, feeding practice should be there, and other strategies we can use to prevent the PM, like vitamin A prophylaxis and folic acid supplementation, deworming we can use, and oral rehydration therapy also we can use for PM, overcome from the PM. Growth monitoring also we can do. We can check every milestones in the baby for growth monitoring. And family planning, that the contraceptive availability of contraceptive we have to give, and proper spacing we have to give for the babies. And health education is very important to reduce the protein energy malnutrition. In that, health education to mother and their family members, child cleanliness, weaning, supplementation and food, and proper protein diet and immunization we will advise for health education. Thank you. We will discuss some other topic in next class.